boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. We have a busy Monday today. Maybe Mondays are always busy. I don't know. But I'm here first and foremost with Mr. Joe. How are you this afternoon?
Pretty good. Ready to lock it in.
Yeah, we're gonna go over, and I'm glad you're here as our Pat McAfee expert. So we're gonna go over that. We're gonna go over CJ Stroud comparing himself to other quarterbacks from last year, how he did, Justin Jefferson, his new contract. But first, Larry Allen. So he passes away this morning, and the headlines all say that was all relatively unexpected. So sad. Shout out to him, his not shout out, but prayers and thoughts for him and his family. 53, so right, this isn't like an age thing, so undoubtedly it was unexpected. But I want to focus a little more on the football side of things. One of the greats to ever play offensive line, and I know this because he played offensive line, and yet everyone knows who he is, generally speaking, who views himself as something of a football historian. You turn on his highlight reels, and it's something that you genuinely just enjoy watching, and there are countless stories of his dominance, particularly with the Dallas Cowboys. So I'll go into a little more detail in terms of how I view his legacy, etc. But go ahead, Joe. You first.
Yeah, I mean, anyone who's a Giants fan knows who Larry Allen is. Countless battles between our defensive line, which is more often than not usually um the strength of our football team. A lot of battles between our defensive line and a Larry Allen led offensive line over with the Cowboys. Obviously, a tremendous talent. Um, uh, One of the best offensive linemen of all time, very easily. He was your prototypical. Um, he's gonna be there every day. He's gonna be the one that's depended on. You just usually just write it in pen. He's gonna be in the Pro Bowl. He's gonna be All Pro. Just about any statistical category that's measured by offensive linemen, he's gonna be at or near the top of it. Um, so yeah, I mean, uh, Emmett Smith doesn't get to the highs of his career without a guard like Larry Allen.
No, 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 for sure. And maybe it's odd. Maybe some people will view it odd that we're taking the time to praise him because he is an offensive lineman. But again, that just goes to show the greatness. I don't know how many Larry Allen stories you've heard, through interviews or personally. I don't know you. I don't know. Maybe you have, Joe. But one of my all-time favorites is, and this speaks to just how great he was they'd be lined up and he would tell the opposing defensive line, "There's nothing you can do. By the way, we're running it to my side." They snap the ball and he literally goes choo choo and plows through and makes a hole for whoever the running back is. And just there's something beautiful about being that confident and just knowing that you're that much better than the other team where you can just do that. And so freak of nature athletically, and so that's kind of the things that I think we're gonna miss, and that we need to then keep bringing up, around around Canton time, around the Dallas Cowboys, around football time. There's people in the stories of anyone like Larry Allen. Do you have any Larry Allen stats or any other anecdotes that you remember? If not, we can happily move on.
Uh, I mean, I just remember him just being all everything as far as statistically speaking during his career. All decade team for the 90s and the 2000s. He was part of that 100th anniversary all time team as well. Um, just a picture of consistency. He was consistently great. Um, and obviously, when you think offensive line, he's going to be in that conversation when you Think of those offensive linemen throughout the years that you just knew, your Willie Roafs, your Anthony Munoz's. When you think offensive line, he's one of those people that you just immediately think about the position and being the best at the position. Guy played 203 games and started 197 of them. This again goes to show part of that consistency. You just always knew he was going to be available and he was going to be one of the best, if not the best, at what he does.
Yeah, that's something different, right? We've had these talks about comparing eras, but I don't think there's been anyone like him, and it's hard to see another person having that level of impact from the offensive line position. Again, hate comparing eras, but just I think it'll be really difficult. Moving on, Joe. Did you by chance see what CJ Stroud said? Take two. Did you by chance see what CJ Stroud said in terms of his how he viewed and how he graded his performance from last year? I'm all for it. And if not, I will have it here on the screen for you really briefly. And this isn't the source, but this is illustrating basically what I also saw. And it's just him being confident, saying that he views himself as better than Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Aaron Rodgers, Justin Herbert. And I'll fully admit I didn't take the time to like verify and see if it was taken out of context. To me, that doesn't matter. Let's just have this conversation. Do you agree, point blank period, CJ Stroud, that was he better than this group of quarterbacks on this list last year?
Well, I mean, that last what you call it, name on that list, kind of hard to argue with that one when he only played literally 4 plays. So, you can't really speak to that particular name. But I personally, listen, I love the confidence. I love the energy that he's coming in with. I want my quarterback to feel like he's going to be the best player on the field, to be honest. So I personally don't mind it. The rest of it is a matter of opinion. Can you pull up that list again, just so I can see?
Oh yeah, sure. And while we're doing that, C, it says, "What is dude in the black shirt doing with his hands?" I was talking to me again. The glitch looks super odd. That's just Joe
Magic,
trying to
me
unlock the
disappearing
final,
and
yeah,
and
the
and
final stone.
appearing.
Joe's inevitable, but appreciate you, see,
I'm
for
literally
tuning
part of the
in.
Matrix.
But here's the list you asked for, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, you know, so 2 of those names, right? Burrow played what? 3/4 of the season, half the season. Hard to argue with that. Justin Herbert, I mean, who was coaching him? Hard to argue with that. Um, Josh Allen, you could have that conversation. You can definitely have that conversation, but all things considered, whether you can argue that list or not, um, I just like the swag he's coming in with, and I think the more I hear him speak, the more that confidence comes out, and I'm personally excited for it. Hate it for Pat McAfee, just because his team has to see them twice a season. Um, but and he said it many a times, and some of those times with him actually on the show. Um, yeah, hates it for his team, but yeah, it's I like that kind of swag, to be honest with you.
I mean, I'm all for it. I want it on the record saying that I support him being and it's confident, right? He's not being reckless with his comments either. It's just him in his mind saying, "Matter of fact, I feel like I was better than these guys." I'm for it. Erock. Oh, do you need to see the list, Erock? What CJ
Sure.
Stroud is comparing himself to other quarterbacks from last year. So he views that he was better than Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Aaron Rodgers, and Justin Herbert last year.
Oh
I,
wow, he was better than Aaron Rodgers. Wow, that's yeah, man. Yeah, those four. That's why was that even invoked on the list? Why was that? That's like me saying I was better than Aaron Rodgers technically last year. I mean, I just played pickup football. I mean, dear God. Oh my god! Why do you even need to bring that up? It's like, yeah, I was better than two of the quarterbacks he named were literally injured had season-finishing injuries. It's like a terrible list to put on there. But all right, yeah, I'll comment on this. By the way, hello. Sorry, everyone. It's always a pain in the rear when you misplace your key. All right, or at least your girl's key. So, back poolside, and I want to say that CJ Stroud. I got news for you. Bryce Young's gonna have a better year than you this year. I'm putting that out there now. I swear, and I'm not just saying that
I'm
biased.
sorry, who? I just want to make sure for clarity so that
Bryce
we can
Young,
clip
Bryce,
this
Bryce,
and make him feel really
good.
bad about this in
Put it on,
December.
put it on record. Put it on
All right,
record.
good.
Put it
All right,
on
I love
record.
that. I love that
Put
for
it
all
on
of us,
record.
honestly.
Put it in stone. Etch it in stone. Chisel, hammer and chisel. Bryce Young's gonna have a better year this year statistically than, not saying team wise, I'm saying statistically, than CJ Stroud. I'm just telling you. I got it.
All
Here's the
right,
thing.
before we let. Oh yeah,
All right.
go ahead. No, I want you to defend your take
I
right
will.
now.
I am happy to do so. I've been thinking long and hard about this because, as a Panthers fan, you have a lot more downtime. So
Fair. That's fair. Yeah.
it is fair.
So
It's
did
very
I.
true.
So did I.
It's
Yeah, so did I.
only half kidding. It's more like a sad smile, a sad laugh. Sophomore slumps. Why do sophomore slumps exist? Rhetorical question. Because there's less film on them coming into the rookie year. Bryce Young came in, and there really is no film to go off of because we were so atrocious on the offensive line. You don't really notice, and we already changed coaches mid-season after just hiring him. The coach, all of them, cleared house, like swept out the cobwebs, everything in the attic. Now we're redoing the floors, essentially, metaphorically, I should say. We got Canales. I actually am starting to like Canales a little bit more. And let's hope that David Tepper finally actually made a good decision. Because I also think our GM should have been. Oh, wait, our GM is gone. Thank God, it's Dan Morgan. Dan Morgan actually has been doing some good work, and I love Dan Morgan. I used to watch him. I watched him play for years as the elder statesman in the room here. He played from the early thousands to mid thousands, and then he had to retire for the same exact reason that Luke Kuechly did. But he's been doing work. Bryce Young is going to be in a better situation, but CJ Stroud has a lot of film on him now, and I don't think he's going to have as good a year as people are thinking he's going to. People are putting him already on a pedestal, like he is like the benchmark from what everyone is saying is what. Oh, not everyone hits Pater like CJ Stroud. You're going to put all that pressure on him. I'm telling you, he's going to have some struggles this year. He's going to have some struggles. Although he does have a better receiver now with Stefon Diggs. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm coming from. Bryce Young is going to have basically a fresh tape, fresh start.
And speaking of a fresh start, we are going to restart Provide Your Spark and the Curious Sports Pulse. We're going to restart this whole show. Thanks, E-Rock. No, I'm kidding. That was a bold take. That was a very bold take, and I'm for it. I'm all for it. Joe,
etch it in stone. Etch it in stone, baby. It's happening.
Joe, can you please respond?
I can't wait.
I'm not going to give it any more air. We can move on to the next topic.
Justin Jefferson is resetting the wide receiver market. He has landed himself a hell of a deal, and I saw a certain at Java Joe Sports saying that this should do well for the wide receivers and all those great wide receivers who have contracts coming up / negotiations. 4-year, $140 million, 110 guaranteed. I mean, 110 out of the 140 being fully guaranteed. You gotta love that proportion if you're Justin Jefferson. I'll be frank though. Maybe this is me returning to the well too often. I don't think it matters. And for sure, it doesn't matter if it's JJ McCarthy throwing him the football. And of course, immediately afterward, I said, "Oh, look, JJ McCarthy is set now for his career. Him and JJ, it's the JJs are going to have success." I think one of the JJs will always have success, no matter what. The rookie JJ, not so much. So that's honestly where I'm looking at it. Good for JJ. Good for goodness. Now I'm doing it. Good for Justin Jefferson. He got a nice deal, and it will help the wide receiver market undoubtedly. I'm more worried about this Minnesota Vikings team. Regardless, good. It's obviously good that they kept him, but this doesn't move the needle for me in terms of the team, obviously, and those are still glaring issues. Go ahead, Joe. What do you think?
Well, I honestly don't think they're really concerned about moving the needle or not. It was just a deal that had to get done, for two reasons. One, you just let your starting quarterback walk for the reason that you needed to pay him. So obviously the deal had to get done, just on the matter of how you acquired the money to get the deal done. Um, Two, as far as the team's concerned, um, I mean, I think you're just in the same boat. Like nothing's changed. He was gonna play this season. So um if anything, you just know he's gonna be there for the immediate future. Great. That really doesn't change anything for me either, just because I didn't expect him to leave anyway. As far as team success is concerned, I think I think it's going to be interesting to start seeing some of these teams that are going to be allocating a lot more of their cap to the wide receiver. Um, that's going to be interesting to watch because they're getting into a tax bracket now where they're garnering a larger chunk of the salary cap. And I'm going to be super curious to see how those teams fare moving forward. Because in my mind, in my brain, how I'm thinking, how I'm viewing it is more often than not, more often than not, teams are going to be allocating their most money to the quarterback. That's just the facts.
Yeah.
They're going to get paid more. They get all the accolades when the team wins, et cetera, so on and so forth. And we know what that model looks like. With the amount of money that wide receivers are now getting, where the other positions are still relatively in decent proximity to each other, except for the running backs, that seems to be going down.
Yeah.
Sucks for them. Sucks to suck. Should have chose a different position, I guess. Um,
Tough
the
break.
problem,
Tough break.
the problem's going to be now. I kind of want to pay closer attention to see how those teams do that have the higher tax bracket going towards the wide receivers, and then having a conversation moving forward to see if a team can win with that much money allocated to that position, because that's a conversation that we should look at down the road. And maybe if those teams suck, maybe that raises the RB markets level, when you can
Oh.
clearly see, oh well, wide receiver is supposed to be great and important, but none of these teams that had these $30 million bills a year are actually getting stuff done. um
Mm.
I don't see it happening, just for the simple fact that there always seems to be depth in that position year after year. So they're probably just going to go cheaper just to make sure that they have at least 5 years, including that fifth option on those players. But um, yeah, like you, doesn't move the needle for me as far the Vikings are concerned. It's not surprising to me that they signed them, got the deal done, just because they literally just let Cousins walk for that explicit purpose. Everybody and their moms knows that.
Mhm.
And as far as the position moving forward, I'm going to be very curious to see how these high contracts are going to affect, like how the cap's used for these teams. They can do it
Mhm.
because they have a rookie quarterback, and the 49ers can do it because they have a cheap quarterback. Um, but when those guys are up, it's can be very
Yeah.
interesting what the tax bracket looks like then.
Joe, I like that. Not because you made your case and you said what you said your piece, but also you found solutions for the much needed running back market. And you also clarified that, hey, it may or may not work, but you're at least trying, and we're supporting growth, and we're supporting growth for the running back market. So I applaud you, Joe. Go ahead, Eron.
Okay, I actually have a lot of takes to say on this. So I've been thinking, and I was listening to Joe, but I was also making sure I was condensing in my head, condensing my thoughts. So and keeping them, I'm basically writing notes in my head so I can do this quick. First off, Bryce Young is going to be a better quarterback than JJ McCarthy this year. I had to. That's not as much of a leap, I don't think. And here's the other thing: Justin Jefferson, this needed to get done. It had to get done. How many years did you say the contract was? How many years did you say it was, Gabe?
We got it. We got it at 4 years, 140 mil.
Yeah, I heard the number, and it's 120 or 110, 120 guaranteed. 4 years. Well, this had to get done. This dude is a generational talent. He is the best receiver in the NFL. And I actually have I like that Joe went to the macro view of this
Yeah.
running back, because I was going to do a similar thing, but it's actually, I'm sorry, I'm a very positive person, or I try to be at least. And I like to put good energy out there for the viewers. I'm actually going to do this as, unfortunately, an opposite for the running backs. I mean, not for the receivers. For receivers, this is a great thing because we knew this was going to happen. And Jamar Chase is next. T. Higgins is after him, or maybe before him. I don't know. Ayuk is right there, et cetera, et cetera. It goes on, receivers. This is a pass-heavy league, almost exclusively. And it's not going to happen today, and it's not going to happen maybe like next year or the year after that maybe. This is what is going to happen though. And Joe actually did say this, even though he was like kind of it was in levity, but it was also very true. It's a sad truth. It's like, tough break, should have basically picked a different position. They are going to pick different positions in youth football. Running back is going to become less desirable. Kids are not going to want to play running back anymore. And that's going to dry up the well a lot. And that's how they're going to, and then that's not going to be for the better. And then that's going to it's not going to happen. Like I said, it's not going to happen today. It's not going to happen tomorrow, etc. You know what I'm getting at. But down the line, this is going to be, if they don't reset the running back market, they're going to have to adjust the game even more than it already is when it comes to, because running backs, they're going to have to put receivers at running back essentially, as like in change formations or something like that. Like they did, like what they did with what's his name? Dude from Patterson, Cordell Patterson, and like like they did with him, and like they did with like they basically do with Deebo Samuels. I mean, it's like that really what they did before McAfee, at least.
Ty Montgomery's another one.
Ty Montgomery's another. That's a great one too. Very good call on that one. And the guy who also plays for the Lions now, but he played for the Packers, etc. Whatever. I think maybe that is Ty Montgomery. Either way, point is, this is what's going to happen down the line, and I'm calling that now. Obviously, this is a long time to wait for a receipt on y'all calling me out. If this show is still happening, or whatever, a bigger version of the show and our networks is still happening at this point, 10 years down the line, one, that's good for us because that means we're awesome, and we already are awesome. But it means like we made it, bro. So, and this is brought to you by the Apple 45 at that point down the line. But it's going to dry up the well, and they're going to have to start figuring out different ways to put it. So I hate this for running backs. I love it for receivers. I not want to take anything out of their pocket. But if anything, what it also means is they're going to have to increase the salary cap more and more and more to allow for running backs to play that. So great for JJ. He deserves it. And now officially our show at both of our networks, at Scoutcast and on Sports Pulse, we have a Josh, a Jordan, and a Joe. And we have a JJ McCarthy and a JJ in Justin Jefferson. A lot of J's around here. That's why I'm getting all confused everywhere. Jalen's and Jaden's. Oh, my God. A lot of J's around. All right. That's it. That's what I got.
I want to give V-Rock a shout out for his further prognostication. And for those that don't know, prognostication is a fancy word for we're just coming up with possible scenarios that may or may not happen. But us being around in 10 years, absolutely not only on the board, but you can that's something you can actually put in stone. Yeah, that's something you can actually put in stone. Justin Jefferson broke the wide receiver market, and CD and Jamar are calling their agents right now. For what, Jordan? For what? For like to go on a date together, #Pride Month, or is it something more? And the running back market is due to Dallas, Arizona, and the Jets being morons. You get zero argument for me in terms of Dallas, Arizona, and Jets being morons. Zero argument for me there, along with other factors.
Dallas especially.
Well said, Jordan. Well said, Jordan. Now, gentlemen, let us get to the big hot topic of the day.
All right.
Pat McAfee. E-Rock, we'll have you go first. We may have a little bit of back and forth depending. But we'll have E-Rock go first and then Joe. But let me set the stage here. Let me set the scene. Okay.
Please do.
It probably won't be like Shakespeare at all, but I almost said Shakespearean. And then Jordan goes on to say also they should bring Jacksonville gift blankets for the wide receiver market. I love Jordan. But anyway, Pat McAfee in his opening rant, and I want to clarify this. We love Pat McAfee because he's not like other talk shows. Hang on, Mark. Hang on.
No, you're good.
Right. So that's the whole reason why he has a fan base, why he has a following, because he's not right. He's speaking from the hearts, or he's just being entertaining.
That's true.
And it's like off the cuff, not scripted, that kind of thing. And they're very open and even mocking their current bosses, former bosses, right? So that's part of, if you like that, that's part of why you like Pat McAfee. But I think he's doing the thing now that he set out to be so against. And so I'm not necessarily comment on him using the B word in regards to Caitlin Clark. All right, right. I mean, people make mistakes, and I think he'll admit that. And if he wants to double down on that, good for him. It's more that he's then going out of his way in that initial comment and saying there's only one superstar. The media is saying that there's this good rookie class. Yeah, no one's saying otherwise, Pat. Obviously, in terms of the totality of what Caitlin Clark brings, obviously she brings the most. But right, you can have multiple superstars that don't have nearly the same amount of impact. I'll give you an example. I think Tyrese Halliburton could be considered a fringe superstar, right? He made the Olympic team. He's an all-star, name recognition, but no one's putting him at the same level of LeBron. All right. So right, there are layers to being a superstar.
Yep.
So I think his comment, and again, setting aside that the B word, saying that at the top of your show is probably not the best move. But I didn't like how he's positioning himself, and we try our best to just celebrate greatness and to kind of give everyone their flowers whenever it's due. So that's where I'm coming from, and what I didn't love about Pat McAfee's show, that he's making it Caitlin Clark versus the others when that's not really needed, in my opinion. E-Rock, when you're done waving to your fans, what do you have to offer on those?
Waving to my fans. Well, I'm a charming guy, I guess. At least I've been told so. I've also been told other things, and I've probably been called the B word a couple of times too. Me and CC have that in common, I guess. All right, I've said this. Here's my thing about. This is just personal preference. I'm not going to put Pat McAfee on my level with Joe Rogan, as I pointed out, where I have my feelings on Joe Rogan. My some type of way. I do like the fact that Pat has his own. He marches to the beat of his own drum. I respect that, because that's the way I kind of like. I know there's also things that are limitations to certain things if you don't want to get too much heat. This was dumb. This was just straight up classless and stupid. One, I hate the fact that it's not like I have an issue with the B word. It's like, I mean, I do when it's in the wrong context. Like, I know you say like SOB or something like that. It's different. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, but when but the sad thing is he's an Indiana fan. What the hell are you doing? And secondly, what is everyone's beef like with? It's like what Joe over here, and Joe. I actually give Joe a lot more credit because I know Joe is not. It's the context he's saying. I get it. It's like, people in the media are trying to hype her up to kiss. They need to kiss the ring, but I mean, it's like, but he's actually kind of like direct. It was a subtle, but yet kind of subtle-ish directly. I don't know. It's hard. It's like he wanted to be like all in on it, but he at the same time is like,
yeah.
he thinks like he was like he either go all in or he go all out. All right. He was kind of having like his foot in. He was like putting his foot in the water, test the temperature, and it was an ignorant statement. It was stupid because anyone that's intelligent knows that if you hear her talk, it's not like she really chose to be like this, I don't know, representation, I should say, of the future of WNBA and women's sports. You can't help when people are trying to put you on a pedestal. You either embrace it or you become the villain, one of the two. Not to be confused with the Dark Knight reference there. Didn't live long enough to see yourself. Your hero lives long enough to see yourself become the villain. That's not the case here. But you do actually have to either embrace it or you don't. So I mean, it's unfortunate. She's catching so much flack. It's also like that ignoramus I talked about. That his post on he also used the B word, and that's why I've substituted it with chick. And he said, "That's right, chick. Fly commercial, you chick." And I was like, "Shut up, dude." And again, like you're a Chicago fan, and again, I'll say it one more time: your Bulls team sucks. Your Bears team sucks. You want them flying commercial too? At least your son team has promise, or whatever you want to call it. Again, shout out to the singular team names: Sun, Cardinal, etc. So, no, this is stupid. Pat needs to rephrase it because in better context, he's not going to. He's not going. That's not in his nature. He'd probably rather get fired before he do that, and he started back his own show again. And Bleacher Report would probably be happy to pick him up or something like that. So, I don't know. That's where I'm at with it. But I respect him usually. I hate this. I think it was ignorant.
I didn't give you enough credit of this earlier when the reporter said that about the Chicago Sky.
Sorry. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. I knew who you meant. When the reporter said about the Chicago Sky, that's a really great point in terms of they would never say that about Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan and the Chicago Bulls and that bench. So that's a really great point, E-Rock. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you know this, but we have the president of the all experts, all things knowing of the Pat McAfee Show, Mr. Joe. Please give us your thoughts and insights here.
That is true.
I will say, I did not watch today. As you two know, I did start a new position today, so I was not able to catch the show. But I know enough about the show and how it works to know that E-Rock is right in one instance. He's not going to back off what he said. He's going to 100% double down, if anything. He's a very I said what I said when I said it type of person that. Um, if he does at the heart of hearts feel like he is wrong, though, I have seen him just kind of like come off that a little bit. And I do expect some sort of version of that after he's digested the day. Because like he says all the time when he talks about his role in the sports universe, he lives on the internet. Like his show was born on the internet. It's streamed on the internet. He keeps his pulse on what the interwebs is saying and and that's kind of like how they come up with what they're going to talk about on the shows is perusing that. So he's going to catch all the heat today, and he's going to see that, and he'll address something of that nature tomorrow, if anything. Just maybe phrasing. He'll address that part of it, but he'll 100% double down on the spirit behind what he said. What I'll say is this, on top of something else that um, that E-Rock brought up is the what she signed up to do sort of deal. I do agree that she did not sign up to be this beacon of light onto the league. She didn't sign up to be this person on a pedestal situation to, carry the league. She's in the league because she was one of the best players to come out of college. She's in the league because she has the talent to be in the league. As far as everything else that's kind of like coming her way, the overzealous reporter and inappropriate conversations in the press conference, the chippiness on the court, um, all this extracurricular trauma that's coming her way, she didn't sign up for any of that. Now, what she will say as a professional is that she knows that some of this does come with the territory of being such a visible person, being such a focal point in the, sports world, so to speak. Obviously, as a professional athlete, some of this doesn't come as a surprise or doesn't come as something that's outside of the territory. This kind of stuff generally happens all the time, to be honest. Um, But I will say, like, some of this extra stuff she did not sign up for, right?
Mhm.
Sticking to Pat McAfee, in general, I don't want to speak to context because, again, like, I did not see the comments made live. I did not see what was said before or after that. Knowing how he phrases things, though, I would say that the comment was more like how he feels like she's being viewed at by others at large, and why the chippiness is happening, and why because every time she's brought up, he speaks to the calls that she's getting from the refs. um he speaks to the chippiness from other players, um like, kind of like, and even on that part, he understands on an athlete to athlete level. It's like, yeah, that's just the welcome to the league. Like, he'll say, yeah, that's just the welcome to the league. But again, specifically to the incident with the player that was discussed today, did not see what he said with that. I saw briefly what the comment was that he said that included the word that we won't say. I did see that. um I feel like, I think ESPN knew what they were signing him up for with regards to that. Like, they knew that in just simply licensing the show and allowing it to be on their airwaves, that this sort of thing was going to happen. Uh, uh, Even when he came down on Norby Williamson, who's no longer with ESPN, go figure. Even when he spoke to that on his airwaves on the network that they each worked on at the time, they had to know this man's just gonna speak his mind in the way he's gonna speak it. So, um, I think, in all honesty, like, they have to know that that's gonna come with the territory. Um, I don't love how this kind of thing happens. How he himself puts them as a group, the show, the 13, 16 people that work on the show, get put into this position, sometimes by his own doing, by their own doing, sometimes by outside influences. um I believe that because of the nature of the show, because of how he runs his show, it's going to continue to happen, whether it is his fault or not. Shout out to Aaron Rodgers. um it's it's just gonna be the kind of energy that finds its way there, if not his fault or their fault in general. It's gonna be sometimes the kind of things they allow on their programming. So I don't love it. They're gonna bounce back. He'll address it tomorrow. And I do believe there's gonna be something to the effect of the phrasing and something of that nature. But the spirit of what he said and why he said it, he's gonna double down on 110%.
Yeah, and in that case, it's just then I disagree with Pat McAfee in terms of I just think the rookies in general are a little closer than what he's giving them credit for, and that's fine. We can disagree on that. Me and Erock don't see completely 100% eye to eye in terms of that, for example, and that's fine. He probably just overstepped, and like just like Joe said, just like Erock said, and just like Jordan said, you kind of know that's going to happen. Oh wait, sorry, he said it here, right? And a shout out to Jordan for keeping our clown meter up. He says because everyone knows Pat is a clown and we'll give him some slack. Yeah, and even if ESPN were to can him, I think he'll be fine. He'll be more than just fine.
Eh,
So oh, go
One
ahead.
last point. He in fairness, for this explicit reason, there is a disclaimer at the beginning of every hour that
Yes.
states
Oh.
that his thoughts and his feelings do not represent the thoughts of ESPN
That's
or
true.
any of his bosses,
That's very
because
true.
he knows that he may see the line and just
No, you're
hopscotch right on over it.
true.
And he can't, and he's not gonna make the people that come on his show feel like they need to be a certain way while they're on there. So he does have a disclaimer before his show for this explicit purpose.
I'm gonna quote Shaq here when he was teasing Charles, like, you ain't gonna get me to apologize. I ain't gonna apologize. You want me to apologize? You're gonna be waiting a long time.
They are an admitted comedic, informative show.
Well, they get good guests, and I mean they are comedic. Well, they're stooges. They said it. They're stooges, and I respect the fact he wears tanks. You know, he's a overrated punter, but he's also a very funny guy, and he's a funny guy.
Oh, he'll say he's overrated too, but he'll also remind you that he was nominated for the Hall of Fame.
He also knows his college football better than he knows NFL. Truthfully, I think he actually does a better job at college football than NFL.
I like him on College Game Day, but
I do too. I think he did really well on College Game Day for sure.
Yes, gentlemen, we have one more topic to get to, and Mr. Ramos kind of previewed it. First of all, he goes on to say ESPN needs Pat more than the other. I agree with that, and largely because of this. We're gonna skip your money comment at the moment.
Sorry.
Because he says, I personally think First Take is gonna have more heat, but Pat McAfee's gonna get some strays too, and that's exactly what we're gonna talk about. I don't have the full context of what was said before, after, but here's in general the quote in case either of you two missed it. Stephen A. Smith, who talks about the WNBA, who talks about women, who talks about women's sports more than First Take. Monica McNutt says, Stephen A., respectfully, with your platform, you could have been doing this 3 years ago if you wanted to. Stephen A. stunned to silence. Molly quickly has to go to commercial.
I missed it.
A lot to unpack there on this, but yeah, right.
I'm gonna need while you're talking, I'm gonna look that up.
I'm doing the exact same thing.
While you both do that, I'll give my initial take then. Yeah, and Jordan, chime in if you want to, just because I know you're on your way home. Hopefully we see you later on at Scoutcast_Media Hub on the YouTube.
This will be on there for sure now. This will be on there.
But here's my thing. I don't really love Stephen A. Smith as a personality or sports analyst anyway. So that's just me. But I think there's 100%. There are people that love the Pat McAfee style. I love it too. That goes without saying. But you gave up Max Kellerman.
Yes.
And Max Kellerman, whether you agree or disagree with him, he's someone that he's just so insightful, and he always goes in deep. Like, even if you disagree with Max Kellerman, you're like, okay, this is someone who at least thought it through, who took the time and did his homework, even if you disagree. And so that's really just on a day like today. Again, there's room for everything. There's room for the fiery Stephen A. Smith. There's room for the Pat McAfee, where, hey, we're stooges. We are who we are. Like it or love it. But I also wish that ESPN kept Max Kellerman around and didn't reduce him to ESPN 52. So that's my initial take. And E-Rock, can you see that fine now what I'm showing, or do you?
I see it right. I see it right now. Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right. Can we start it from where she starts?
Because, no, I can't play it. Is
that an infringement or something like that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm gonna watch it. All right, I'll watch it after. I'll watch it in between shows. So it'll be a brief one. Speaking of jobs, Joe, congratulations, by the way, on your new job starting today. I start my new job today as well, right after Scoutcast Media. Joe, I hope you're going to be on there, because I have there's a very important segment that is just for you, and because you missed the previous couple of times we've been doing it. It's our food expert over here. He has our foodie. He has our baddie man, foodie man. All right, not foodie man, foodie man. There we go. I don't know. That came out really weird. Foodie. I don't know. He's our food expertise, our food savant. There we go. He's our cuisine savant. All right. Okay. I can't wait to watch this. I usually wake up every morning. I watch Get Up because I like it better, because it's got a little more. It's not just people yelling at each other, and there's a little bit more nuance to it. And then I'll watch First Take, depending on who's. I like Wednesdays because Christopher Russo's on there. And that's fun, even though he does yell. He just cracks me the hell up.
Yeah.
And I've listened to him since I've told everyone this. I've listened to him since I was a young buck. That's I was a young buck, and there wasn't no podcasting. But and he can take Stephen A to the cleaners, and he also compares people to the dinosaur age. But we'll take that back. I have to see the context, so I can't really comment much more on this, except for I will piggyback off what you said. I agree. You know why Max Kellerman did not last on there, which I think he should have, because one, I hate Colin Cowherd. I hate Skip Bayless. Those are like my least two favorite, and that's even more hated than Stephen A. I respect Stephen A because he went to Winston-Salem State. That's about where it goes, and he is very intelligent.
Yes,
on the basketball, and he makes up words. That's the other thing I hate too. He makes up words. Incredulous. I was like, that is just a regionalist. Like, it's not literally what he said, but he just makes up words. Kevin Hart actually even calls him out on it. So like, he's making up words. He's right though. He does. Yeah, I hate his false sense of swag. My bro, you're like 60, man. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Stop trying to act like a young brother, man. You're 60. I mean, chill. Plus, he copies people's style and tries to act like his own. But that aside, he's just wrong. Especially since he claims to be raised by all women. You know, he has all sisters. He has a mom who raised him, and his sisters raised him. And I have to see what the exact context is, but it sounds stupid. Because if Monica McNutt, who is very level-headed, calls his ass out, then you know he said something really stupid. So, and Shannon Sharp was there too. And I'll give Shannon Sharp credit. As babbly as he is, which I've seen him, like, you know, because I watched him play. Again, I'm old as hell. I watched him actually play in the NFL. Yeah, sorry guys, you guys were just wearing diapers and I'm watching it. He does his homework. Shannon Sharp does his homework. He knows what he's talking about. Yeah, he's a big homer when it comes to LA Lakers, no doubt. But he does his homework. He's prepared. Stephen A just sometimes comes in there and just wings it. So I don't know. I can't wait to see this. I'll talk more about it. But here's what I was saying about Colin Cowherd. The reason why they didn't bring him back is because he wasn't. It's just like electric. They needed like.
You mean Kellerman, right?
Huh?
You mean Kellerman, right?
What did I say?
Colin Cowherd.
Oh, I apologize, Max Kellerman. I'm so sorry. Oh, that was offensive to Kellerman. Oh, I'm so sorry. Ooh, because I hate Colin Cowherd. Him and Skip Bayless. I swear, I love Charles Barkley because he makes fun of Skip Bayless. But Max Kellerman is very prepared. He's one of the best boxing analysts I've ever seen.
Yes.
And the reason why he's also not on ESPN because he wasn't just electric enough. So, yeah, that's where I'll pass it off. That I love your take on that, Gabe. I don't want to go too far into it until I look at the tape.
Yeah. I mean, that's fair.
I'll do that.
I put you on the spot, so that's more than fair. I can't wait for you to watch the clip, and then we'll dive.
Watch it. The one day I don't watch it. What the hell? Oh.
Yeah, something really good. I can't wait to talk with you later. Go ahead, Joe.
We will.
I will say the freeze frame photo that I see on the Daily Mail right now with Stephen A. open mouth and Monica McNutt very confident in what she just said, and Molly like, oh no, she really just did that. That's what I'm looking at right now, and that's a freeze frame after the incident in question, and I was like, oh, like I immediately felt what I think the majority of the film crew in that studio felt at the same time. It was like equal, oh, she said that, and then equal embarrassment for Stephen A that this just happened to him. But based on what I'm reading, I'm gonna kind of like tie this whole point together. So the argument that was being made was that the players at large have some sort of jealousy towards Caitlin Clark and the attention that she's getting for the attention that's now being placed on the league. And I think where Monica McNutt is coming in on her reasoning for saying what she said is like, well, if the mainstream media would have been doing this 2, 3, maybe 4 years ago, maybe there isn't that level of resentment for what's happening now because it would have already been a thing over the course of these last 3 or 4 years. And While I can't speak to that because I only focus on my edge of the universe, and when it comes to that, it's the teams that I follow. So like it's, Liberty, Giants, Yankees, so on and so forth. I just keep up with my teams, and yeah, I have a broad knowledge over the league. I can't speak to as far as the content that I'm watching, whether, the WNBA is just not have had the public pulse of the nation, so to speak. But I think that's where the argument stems from. I think Monica McNutt is really just kind of like defending the players that would have felt attacked by that comment. That there's a jealousy against Caitlin Clark or a resentment against Caitlin Clark because they've been out here doing the thing for the league for X amount of time, and it's now, oh, she's the beacon of light that now is shining all the lights. I will say this. The media is supposed to be an extension of sport. It's their role in a matter to inform sport, inform on the sports in general. Um, so I think both parts can be right here. I think both parts, that resentment can be something, but also it can be also right that it maybe wasn't covered on the well, I can tell you it's definitely not covered on the level it is now than it was then. Otherwise we he wouldn't have felt that offended about it if there wasn't even like a small little bit of truth to that. Um I I feel like she may have an argument there. But I also will say that some of that chippiness isn't just resentment. Some of that is they're trying to win a game, bro. Like they're some of that is just, hey, welcome to the league, bro. You had it real cush over there in Iowa. This is the league now. Get your stuff together. Either get in the gym or get out. Like, and I'm not angry at that. I'm not angry at that. And I can't speak for the ladies that have that edge because of resentment. I'm not them. I'm not in their shoes. I'm not going to ever be in their shoes. So I can't speak towards to that aspect of it, but I will say, and you guys can, say if you agree or not, like the beginning parts of the season going into the, like the draft and then going into the beginning parts of the season, there was a lot of dialogue about Clark. There was a lot of dialogue about what she's going to do for the league and this, that, and the other. And in a lot of interviews, a lot of press conferences of the opposing team that just finished playing Clark, there's a lot of questions about Clark. And I'm like, all right, well, listen, do you want to know her blood type? Do you want them to say, how she sweats on the court? It's like, listen, they were out there too, and they just beat her team. How about having maybe 75, 80%, maybe even 90% of the conversation be about that, as opposed to how they feel Caitlin Clark did.
Yeah.
Okay, we get it. She was there. She's going to continue to be there for the next, I don't know, 30 something games, however much is left in the season. And I think as the season progresses, you're going to get less and less about that. Just because we've already kind of like knocked that out. But there is something to the argument, like, okay, we understand, highest rated college basketball games. We understand
Yeah.
we get all of that. We get all of that. Let's move the conversation forward. Let's start talking about the teams and how they're doing and all that kind of jazz. Let that be the focus of the conversation. Not every flipping game or after the game do we have to it's what people hate about mainstream media talking about the Warriors and the Lakers when they suck.
Yes, Joe, and we'll probably end up having an extension of this conversation.
We will.
on
I'll save my rebuttal because like, he's right about many things, but I will talk to you about it shortly.
We do have to get out of here, though. All kidding aside, we're gonna finish on this. Jordan saying, I think it's more points of Max being right and not kissing Stephen A.
More
Smith's
rings.
ring. Talk about a slam dunk there from
Everyone's
Jordan.
got rings around here, apparently.
And except Charles. And then Jordan goes on to say, because I have a lot to say on Smith and sports media. So Joe really continued the foundation, set the foundation. That's what we've been trying to do here, at least, right? We're just three Joes on a camera. Right. ESPN should be doing better. I hate when people say do better, but they really should be doing better, and they can do better.
We promote growth. We promote growth, baby.
Yeah, E-Rock, exactly. Final closing thought here. Pat McAfee did tweet this out 30 minutes ago. So closing thought slash quick reaction to this, and plug whatever you need to plug. He said, I shouldn't have used white B-word as a descriptor of Caitlin Clark, no matter the context, even if we're talking about race for a reason for some of the stuff happening. I have way too much respect for her and women to put that into the universe. My intentions were saying it were complimentary, just like the entire segment, but a lot of folks are saying that it certainly wasn't at all. That's 100% on me, and for that I apologize. I have sent an apology to Caitlin as well. Everything else I said is still all facts. # journalism.
I apologize for nothing.
You and Joe called it to the T. Closing thoughts on this.
Joe called it.
Else you need a plug?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Oh no, I'm ready to switch over to Scoutcast Media Hub. Thank you to Curious Sports Pulse 100, as I always call it, and thanks to Joe and Gabe. I really have some. I have that paid training session at 5, so I already have everything crispy and laid out. But I'll see y'all soon.
All right, see you, Rock. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, that's 100% exactly what I thought was gonna happen. I was like, listen, the spirit, and now him saying that, it makes me understand why he said what he said. He was just really trying to say she's that dude, like she's she's her, if you will. But he said it with those words, and he read the pulse of the internet, and it's like, yo, I'm getting killed out here. I gotta say something. That's literally what happened. And listen, I can't speak to who he is on a daily basis as a person, but I can say that he's a new girl dad. All right. He has an amazing wife from all intents and purposes. There's a lot of women in his life that are very important. He loves where women's sports is and where he thinks it's going. He said it during the ESPYs when he hosted it. So I really think that was just I knew. Now, seeing what he said, it confirms what I thought the intent was in what he said. So that went exactly according to what I thought was going to go down. You could see opinions like this that I've said on this program, but also in the interwebs on Java Joe Sports on the X. Links to my portfolio writing are on there. Scripts, articles, things of that nature. Short stories, because sometimes I only have 1,000 words to say. And yeah, you can catch me on Scoutcast Media here shortly. Thanks to Curious Sport Pulse for the platform, and we'll catch you on the flip flop.
Joe, well done today. See you later.